Come on. Come on, hydrate. It's going to be hard out at 11. Someone's got to be in the woods at 11, man. Hard in at 9:48, man. Yeah. What's up, TikTok? Thanks for being a fan, man. Dan Mangan. What's going on, dude? Are you going hiking? Where are you going at 11, Dan? What's going on, brother? Here's my impression of Dan on his headshot. It's pretty close. Yeah, into the wilderness, man. I like that. I didn't realize until I sent the email out yesterday, like, you're kind of looking off into the distance. Mysteriously. What wilderness, man? You don't have to tell everybody. Whistler. Oh, wow. That's like kind of epic. That's kind of epic, man. One of the advantages of living in a beautiful country like Canada. So yeah, man, we usually just kind of like warm up the room a little bit. What's up, everybody that's popping in and out? And grab a glass of water, let people kind of filter in. Make sure that my headset is connected. Is it? Actually, I'm not sure it is. Let's see. If it freezes for a second, then we meant to do that. Now, the whole world is right here. Ta-da! What's up, Tori? Mustafa, thank you for bringing your fans. What's up, T? Taco Spice, dude. Thank you so much. Taco Spice. Spice. What's up, man? And we got, let's live in the future for a second. We got a lot of really good people coming up over the next 5-6 weeks. So right before Dan makes his cameo appearance, dude, so excited to have you guys. T! Thank you very much for bringing your, are you interested in a little coaching with Britt on Friday? I don't know if Tori connected with you or not, but we'd love to have you come in and do a little spit in some bars and get some coaching from a really, really good friend of mine who happens to be someone who owns a studio in Cleveland. And she does a lot of work with R&B, with a lot of hip hop. She gets a lot of placements on film and TV. She's an amazing person. And I thought it would be kind of a cool, like a trial sort of experimentation to let you get a little bit of coaching. Dope. I've done. Super excited about that. Because that was like the first thing that occurred to me as soon as you and I were hanging out last week. Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you very, very, very much, brother. We got two really dope Dans on today. We should do it. We should call it the Dope Dan Show. What's up, D? Thank you so much, man. You are the wind beneath our wings. That's probably true for all of the artists here on You Now. We love you so much, man. Thank you. Appreciate you super, super much, man. We got two good Dans in the show right now. Let's see who else is popping in. Anyway, T, can't wait to have you on Friday. I'll let Britt know. I'm actually going to talk with her later on this afternoon. Kind of put some, yeah, it's a big Dan fan club. Dan fan. Hashtag Dan fan. What are you going to do? Let me mention to you guys a couple of things that are coming up over the next little bits. Yeah. Are you talking about for us, T? You mean like for us to check in with us? Just use my email. You have an email? Do you want to email us? Just use Peter@peterpetro.com. Tori, if you can just write that out for her, just to make sure that she gets a way to reach out to us and stay connected. Couple things coming up in the next few weeks, guys. So I'm gonna do my little cheat sheet here so I can see who's coming. So Friday, thank you, Seahawk. Thank you for bringing your peeps. This is gonna be deep on live streaming, deep on music, deep on the reality of what's going on right now in that space. So anyone trying to figure out interesting ways to look at live streaming, producers, artists, songwriters, people who support those people. Thank you for sharing. Yes. So Friday we got Britt Fox, who is R&B hip hop producer, does a lot of licensing and placement for film and TV, understands that game, does a lot of stuff with a lot of different studios and broadcasts. So if you're interested in learning about hip hop production, if you're interested in learning about collabs, if you're interested in learning how to do like songwriting, thank you, Tori. Yes, that's a killer one. She is a beautiful person. She's a good friend of mine and someone that is sort of a natural teacher and someone who's really, really good at working with artists and bringing things out, that sort of producer mindset, and just a really, really beautiful person. So I'm super excited to have her on Friday. And then coming up over the next 4 weeks in August, it's Dash on Wednesday the 5th. You guys know Dash. Incredible freestyle hip hop artist. What is that? He plays an auto harp. Is it a zither? I don't know what it is. He's going to talk about it. Love that guy. He's just, anyway, I already fanboyed him up a couple of weeks ago and it was awkward enough, so I'll wait until he's on here again and then really turn it up. 7,000 Apart, who just, I guess they just won, Tori, they just won the Erica's Last blah, 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 blah thing. Of course, Britt knows how my feelings about her. She knows. I could just do a whole session on like why she's awesome. So she you know, whatever. She doesn't blush anymore. She did the first 100 times. 7,000 Apart is coming in on the 7th of August. Michael Lee is coming in on the 12th. Unique is coming in on the 14th. Erica McKenzie, who just runs You Now and does a whole bunch of great stuff. She's doing a whole sort of competition and showcase throughout August. So we're totally supporting what she's doing, and she's going to be coming in like right in the middle of it during bracket season. Kim Maverick comes in on the 21st, who's a brilliant songwriter, by the way. Really, really talented, great artist. Number of things that Kim's plugged into in the music industry that could be great to hear about. Sam Elliott on the 26th, and then kicking off August, Taco Spice coming in on the 28th. We might even try and fit a few more peeps in there. I don't know how we're going to do it, Tori, but there's some people on there that I wanted to be able to, anyway, we'll see what we can do. It's going to be a busy August. If you would like to be on our email thread, basically we send 2 emails out a week. We send one out on Tuesday night and we send one out on Thursday night, and we just let you guys know like who's coming on, so you can do a little homework, get your questions ready. So yeah, man, we're gonna Dan, you ready to pop on? You got your do ready? Thanks, Moonhawk. Dude, thank you so much. Hat in lieu of a do. What a songwriter you are, bro. All right, let's do it. Yes, sounds good. Tori gonna be reffed up. Thank you for the reminder. Assign. What's up, Moonhawk? We're fantastic. How are you, bro? How you doing? I kept the sign up just for you. Thank you for bringing your. Wow, you got a lot of fans, dude. You got 17K fans. Thanks very much for inviting your folks over. See if we can bring on Dan the man.
Hello.
Dan. What's up, dude?
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
So, I want to know more about this trip to Whistler. Are you going just for the weekend?
Well, I'll tell you this. We were supposed to go to Mexico in March, and we hadn't been on like a vacation in 9 years, just because
That's a long time.
life. You know, we've like visited family here and there and stuff, and gone down to
family's
Portland.
not vacation.
That's not a vacation, especially with two little
Let's just
kids.
leave it at that.
Family, like visiting family, is not a vacation.
It's love, but it ain't vacation.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. Yeah. It's crucial. So we were, we had this like big plan. We got like bought flights on like, like air miles points and stuff. And we were going to go to this amazing spot and take the kids to the beach and stuff. And then of course COVID comes and we have to cancel everything. And so we're just like devastated. Anyway, so, we're really lucky. We live in Vancouver, BC, and we are an hour away from like unlimited natural beauty. So we're just gonna head up Whistler, and it's long overdue. I need it. I've been like glued to my computer like this as you are
now. Like you were already planning to roll out in March, and then it was like, no, let's just stay put for 4 months instead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's been hairy, man. And Side Door, like, it started out as this sort of passion project. It was sort of this thing that I witnessed, having spent the last 15 years touring. I witnessed this huge gap in the market of like, live touring, and we started kind of hammering away at it because we understood the problem really well. And essentially 97% of artists are unrepresented by an agent.
Right.
Even of that 3%, the majority of them would play more shows if they could do it on their terms, and are asking their agents for more shows than they would, like.
Right.
And so, my first gig in Calgary, and I think I might have even told you this story, but I played in a bar for 4 people, and I begged the bar for months to come and let me play. And the bar was great, but there was 4 people there, and
they paid you with a couple of beers, and they were like, "Great to see you. We'll see you next time." Right?
Yeah, I mean, it cost me money to get into town. Sure. And then 6 months later, I came back and I played in this guy's backyard, and there's like 60 people there, and they don't know who I am, but they're friends with this guy Doug. And I sell a bunch of CDs.
Yeah, I know
Doug. Doug from Calgary. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
And so, have like the best night ever, make like $700. It's like, oh my God, this is great. And I just, back then I remember realizing, I need a Doug in every town. It's like your Trojan horse, right? It's like the person who gives you a spark. That first 60 people in Calgary, you can turn that into 10,000, but you need that first 60 people to be like, whoa, I just witnessed something great, right?
Right. Thank you, Brad.
So that was like the beginning of Side Door, and we were motoring along and doing great, and we kind of had this like Airbnb for gigs kind of thing, and we'd 2,500 artists and run about 700 shows through the platform, and 900 venues in North America, and a big partnership with South by Southwest. And just like my trip to Mexico,
totally.
Now
you were probably heading to go to South by.
I was in Toronto, and the plan was to fly home for like a day and then head down to Austin.
Sure.
And
Which would have been, yeah.
but we like, I had a big tour. Like I was going to be on tour for like all of April. And you know, I postponed those gigs to September. Now those gigs have been postponed to January. There's a part of me that's even skeptical about that, and I think it's going to get kicked down to next fall. But
I don't see anything happening. I mean, this sounds negative, but I don't see it as negative. I just see it as like, you know, it's going to be 12 months before we're even past. You know, it's going to be 85% the same as it is right now for the next 12 months. For all
or 16,
yeah.
It's gonna be like varying levels of weird until we all have a vaccine, you know. So, yeah, it's wild. And so, I mean, it's interesting because this moment really it's been like the making of Side Door, and it for completely reasons that we could have never anticipated, never expected, and also, you know, we didn't build the platform for the pandemic, but strangely, we're set up in this weird way because we've adapted to like really highly interactive, high value, high engagement interactive shows. We've built a totally secure ticketing portal for Zoom, essentially. So you can play to 1,000 people. You can see into 1,000 homes, and all of those 1,000 people can see into all the other 1,000 homes. So it's like this big humanity in a jar. People are knitting, they're baking, they're cleaning and crying and laughing and dancing and like everything. And like seeing tears in these shows is really regular. And it's just crazy. And so, you know, nothing against live streaming in the broadcast sort of sense, but it's essentially what most music shows are in the streaming world. It's sort of like a TV show with a chat, you know? And so that's fine. And it can be done really, really well. However, we've leaned into like the more human element of like, okay, the tech's not perfect. It's never going to replace a live show. But what about this moment is actually kind of exciting? And like, what about it is what silver linings of this situation are going to last long beyond COVID? And what we found is that the international nature of it, you know, like you're in my home right now, like I'm in your home. There's an element of it that's quite earnest and direct and really beautiful, and audiences on Side Door are like jumping from gig to gig to gig because it's just a different kind of experience. And so it's I believe that it's gonna last. Like I think that this is gonna be a thing. This is not just like a momentary gimmick.
Completely. And I also think that the last, you know, I mean, the way that you and I have connected is because as a journalist, I've kind of looked very closely at live streaming and what's happening in the music industry the last number of months. And Wu-Tang, love your question, and I'm going to circle back in 20 seconds and let Dan answer that. But it's interesting to me that everyone that I speak to that's got a live streaming platform always says it's not going to replace live. It's not going to replace live. We're not meant to replace live. But I also wonder if there's going to be things that really feel in some strange way better than live. And I think what you're doing is something that no one's ever really experienced before. So quick question from Wu-Tang. Is this something that's available only in Canada?
No, it's everywhere. So, you know, it's funny, like
give us, you know what, just for people that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, dude, but like, just for people that just popped in and are like, okay, so what's going on right now? Give us the sort of 30-second version of what it is that Side Door essentially does right now.
So Side Door is a marketplace. What it does right now really well is it helps artists play super highly engaged shows, and to be able to see the audience can see each other through a really unique, robust integration with Zoom that allows you to actually ticket like instances in Zoom. And there's no shareable links or anything like that. That's what Side Door is doing right now.
It's ticketed, which is
ticketed important. Online shows, interactive, engaged. Eventually, you know, we're going to build out all, like the other thing on Side Door is you can split revenue right at the point of sale. So if you want to work with a presenter, like you work with a promoter who can help you present gigs, and you set a negotiation, you slide a bar back and forth, you figure out, you know, where the revenue is going to go, and then after the show, all that revenue, it gets held in escrow when people are buying tickets, and then it just gets distributed automatically right in everyone's bank accounts. So nobody has to ask to be paid or anything like that.
One of the things that I think will resonate for this group of people, in the UNOW environment is there's a lot of things I think that to me are very similar about UNOW and about Side Door. And one of them is that I don't know if Unknown is on at the moment, but Unknown is someone that's very well known in the UNOW environment as a kind of a promoter dude. He's just a supporter. He's like your best hype man. He's just the guy that's going to be like, Pete, Tori, you guys are doing something really rad. You should talk to so and so. Hey guys, you should go check out Tori's stream and what Pete's doing right now. And so there's this sort of natural human thing that's happening in UNOW that Side Door's built to be able to support that element as well as the sort of creators. Even
Totally.
venues can probably do that. You can have a show that's kind of in Sacramento and maybe
Mm-hmm.
facilitated by. So talk about that sort of, you mentioned the word marketplace. And when we were talking last week, I guess it was, you look at this as a marketplace because there's these different sort of people involved to try and make a show successful. How does Side Door sort of help make that work? Good seeing you again, 7,000.
Yeah, so you can match with people on Side Door. You can kind of connect with them, and they become one of your connections. And then from there, you can plan shows with them. And so there's like a chat thread, and then there's all the elements on the side, which is like a really sophisticated booking interface. You set up all your details. You both sign off on all the details. And then you have sort of like a digital contract, essentially. So, I think like it's really cool because here you have a community on UNOW. People, as you say, like supporting each other. People are promoting their stuff. They're sort of, and I think that like it's really interesting, the live stream world of just like allowing a portal into your world. Like, yeah. I think that there's like a real purpose for all of these different lanes. You know what I mean? Like for me, like I think of UNOW would be like, oh, hey guys, I'm like working on a track or something like that. I'm just going to like put it on. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to be working. Like you get a little, like a window into my world. Side Door is more like, I'm going to put on a show. Right. I'm going to sell tickets. Right. I'm going to promote that show like a real show. And then once we're in the show, it's not like I'm going about my life and you're a fly on the wall. It's like I'm doing a show. I've prepared it for you. I'm giving it to you. And let's do something together as a bunch of humans. And like if music is sort of the nucleus, like the magnet, it's what's pulling everyone in. It's what people are buying tickets because they like the music. But what we've really done, and this is something that we figured out really quickly when we pivoted for the pandemic, was the thing that Side Door always did well. Like we put on 300 shows in like backyards and bookstores and warehouses and juice factories and provincial parks and all kinds of crazy places. And the thing that we always did well is we made people feel connected to something that was unique and scarce and weird and like different and will probably never happen again. This performer in this location, that was an experience, right? So when it came to doing online shows, we didn't want to just do like one-to-many ubiquitous streams. We wanted to try and recreate that feeling. And when you leave an amazing concert and you feel full of life and you're energized and you feel like you want to go, bake a cake and plant a garden and call your friend or something like that. Like you should feel like full of life and you should feel like you just experienced something that was like you were part of a community. And I've said this before, but like it's one thing to love an artist, but it's another thing to actually love being amongst other people that love that artist. And so on Side Door, it's not just that you're watching the performance, you're seeing everybody else love the performance. And it's like, that is, I swear people spend half the time just people watching, just like flipping through page. I have like 25 people on a screen in gallery view and you're page after page after page. And it's just like you're this portal into all these different, these lives. So that's what we've been trying to make people feel at the end of a show is like, whoa, that was emotional. That was heavy. That was real. I wasn't just entertained. I was part of something that will never happen again.
Yeah, and you said something interesting for Scottish Chris. Very nice to have you on here. If you guys have any specific questions for Dan, he's actually got a hard out at 11, which is about 45 minutes from now. So absolutely anything you guys want to weave into this, I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on it. Dan and I spoke last week for a little mention that's going to be running in our music publications, and you said something very interesting about, it's great to go to a concert and take the music in and enjoy all of that effect that the music has on you, but being a part of a community that actually loves that music is a completely different level. Do you know who Bill Graham is?
No.
You know that name? So like Bill Graham is just an example of someone who was well known in the, I think, 60s and 70s for like really producing shows that were curated a particular way, like especially in Northern
Oh,
California.
oh, you're talking about like in San Francisco, like the
Yeah,
Fillmore. Oh yeah,
yeah.
man. I mean, come on, give
Like
me, yeah.
right, okay, so that's where my mind would, as I'm listening to you, and I'm like, and I'm grabbing for something like, give me an example of what it's like a Bill Graham kind of thing. Like that's, there's a lot of love that goes into like, okay, where's this going to be held, how are we going to do this, who's going to watch, why are they going to watch, how's this going to work. It's not just sort of, to use a term that's used in tech a lot, like pipes. It's not just like, click on this, start your video, good luck, here's how you promote it. I think that's what a lot of the so-called sort of competitors in the space that you're in are sort of approaching it that way. Even companies that have been around for a long time, whereas I think you guys are doing it very differently. You have a background as an artist, and I think that is a big part of how you guys do things differently. To talk about, you know, the sort of the role that you have as a songwriter, as an artist, and then how that relates to the stuff that you do with Side Door and how that helps you sort of understand how to do it a particular way.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I've been touring for the last 15 years or so, and I've had, you know, the fortunate situation of being able to tour all over the world. And I think that, you know, artists are willing to give something away rather than, it's like we're so afraid of being forgotten that we're willing to basically give everything away. And it's like we just want a seat at the table. There's like this fear, like this deep fear inside most artists. And it's just like, yeah, I want to value my art. And yeah, I want to, like, you know, make a living. But more than anything, I just desperately need to not be forgotten. And I need people to know that I exist. And so we're willing to just give it all away all the time, you know, for exposure or what have you. And I don't like that feeling. And I wanted to try and build a platform that made artists feel like they could just be empowered. They could just like have the hands on the wheel, you know. And the marketplace approach, you know, we're not just like a streaming platform. Like we've taken like the way that it feels to be a part of a community, to like volunteer at a merch booth or something like that and sell T-shirts, or like, you know, just be a part, like go to shows and take photos. You know, with the vision that we're building, and we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there, is this idea that you can be an audience member, you can like volunteer at shows, you could be a photographer, you could even be a cleaner that comes and like helps clean up the next morning. You can be like, you can all participate in this world, and you can all be built into the show settlements. So it's like, I can pay a photographer $100, and I can pay this person $100, or I can do this, and I can bring these people in, and this person's going to get a split of the show. And when it comes to the online world, sky's the limit, because you could do like, I'm gonna do a big show where you got like presenters in Pittsburgh and Sacramento and Vietnam and London and Paris, and I'm gonna work with presenters in those places, and they're all gonna sell tickets to this show. And then in each of those places, we're gonna have like a different support band that's gonna open up for this show, and I'm gonna be. It's just like, to be able to really pull it all into one place where everyone involved can find value, can make a living, can, you know, be a part of something special. And so really, I mean, it's a big picture. It's a big, grand picture, but it's like a global marketplace where anybody can essentially make a living doing it. And how is it different from So Far Sounds? So Far Sounds is great. They've proven that there's like an appetite around the world for, you know, alternative kinds of gigs, right? The way that it's different is So Far Sounds is a curated service. So you go to a So Far show and you get a band that you don't know who they are, but So Far's picked them for you. Essentially, we took the 30,000 foot view where anyone can be So Far Sounds. So you can be So Far Sounds. You can book the bands. You can book them in your space or someone else's space. And anyone gets to curate and be the draw to like help the community rally around a performer, around an artist. So any space is a venue. Venues have profiles. you partner with artists, you put things on. But the way that it gets interesting with the online stuff is that you can have this hybrid model, right? Where it's like, okay, we're going to do a show. It's in this person's backyard. We're also going to stream it. So you can sell tickets for the in-person thing. And as we kind of wander through and out of COVID, you know, we're going to be focusing on regional touring. We're going to be focusing on smaller gatherings, you know, community oriented. So in a way, we're really set up. So you can have that show in the bookshop for 30 people, and then you can stream it online, and you can make a little bit more money, you know, selling tickets to the experience online. And people are really leaning into the interactive element where, like, it's not just a show with a chat thread, but like actually arrange it. Like when you a lot of artists are doing this on Side Door. You buy a ticket and you get like a message from the person who, you know, the show's organizer, and it'll say like, email this address with a story about if you have something you want to share with the community during the show, email this person. So then you got like somebody's triaging the incoming requests, and you run it like a show. And so you'd be like, okay, I'm going to pull up Carol, you know, in between, you know, after 3 songs. Like I have a moderator on my shows named Mark, and he'll just interrupt me and he'll be like, okay, Dan, I'm going to pull up Carol here, and she's got a great story from this show that happened at an aquarium in Brighton in 2011 or something like that. And then she'll come up and she'll talk about the experience or about a song, or she'll request a song, or she'll dedicate a song to her friend who's also watching the show and they haven't seen each other in months and months, you know. And it's like, it gets human really quick. And the more you lean into that, like this was never going to be perfect. Like, you're in my studio. It's never going to feel like I have a guitar in your face. Right. But when you tap into like the really human stuff and the really like community driven stuff, it compensates in a hardcore way. And like you said, in some ways it's better. Like some people, like we're getting some feedback from people reviewing the shows on Side Door saying, I actually like this way more than going to a bar. And I've even had the experience with like some friends on the platform, like other performers who I've seen them play many times. And it's great, you know. I appreciate their work. I think they're great songwriters and stuff. Right. My friend Jill Barber did a Mother's Day show, and she had like people dedicating songs to their mothers over and over again, and like requesting songs. And it was just like tears, like the whole time. It's just like people, oh, look, they miss their mom and they haven't seen their mom and they're dedicating a song. And then all of a sudden Jill's songs, which I've known for ages, like I'm listening to her voice and her words in a more intense way, and I'm here on my computer and I'm just like crying. Yeah. And it was like, that was my favorite Jill Barber show ever. And I've seen her play at Roy Thompson Hall to like a couple thousand people in Toronto. Completely. And it was like, this was my favorite. And she was just in her living room strumming her guitar, beautiful voice.
It's the context of it, you know. And again, so Yuma, thank you so much for the like 7,000. Wu-Tang had a really interesting kind of a comment. It's almost like the equivalent of like creating, like renting a booth and kind of really producing something. And she was also curious to know when your next show is. Are you going to be performing on, thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. Are you going to be performing on Side Door anytime soon?
Yeah, so I'll probably announce a show next week. I've been doing one of them every couple of weeks. And recently I've actually been doing full albums. So I put out 5 records, and I did, there's one in 2009 that was kind of my big breakthrough. That was the one that kind of changed things for me, particularly in Canada, less so in the States. But so I've actually been doing album by album through them, and it's been amazing. Like, because what I find is that each one of my albums has a different community associated with it. Like for this community, like nice, very nice is their favorite of mine. And then they're like, you move on to the next record, and you get all these other people. They're like, no, this one's my favorite.
What was the one that I listened to 2 weeks ago?
That was probably More or Less, which is the most recent one. So yeah, that's the next one we're gonna do.
Amazing. Like, so what's the easiest way for us to tell folks on here like how to find that?
Tori just posted my Spotify. So that's More or Less.
Dude, and talk. So I mean, just. We could go into a whole thing about your music. I wanted to ask you something about, it's kind of cool at the moment. We've got people from literally all over the world. So like Britt is in Cleveland, Kim is in Pittsburgh, which is hilarious. Like as soon as you said Pittsburgh, she had just popped on. That's why I was like, Pittsburgh. That's a true artist, is someone who can like tell when
Everything is
Berg
connected.
is in the room.
Okay.
You know, you're in Canada, Dan's on the East Coast. Like you got people. We have Yuma's in Germany. My question then is, you know, I know that theoretically Side Door, you know, you could do kind of a show basically anywhere in the world. However, there's probably, and again, it's based in Canada, so you probably have a little bit more of a, you know, more hotspots in Canada than the rest of the world statistically. But like, are there sort of things bubbling up in particular cities? Do you have a buzz in Pittsburgh? Do you have a buzz in San Francisco? Do you have a buzz in Boston or in Madrid or Berlin or certain places that you're like, yeah, there's like scenes happening depending on where
Yeah.
you are?
When it comes to the like in-person shows, like getting, you know, when we get back to that, definitely like along all the traditional touring routes. So
Okay.
down the West Coast, you know, across from LA over to Austin, up through the South to, you know, Philly, New York, Chicago corridor, you know, up to the Northeast. It kind of follows those same routes. So, you know, there's kind of like dry spots in the middle of America and stuff. But we were up to about 1,500 venues now, and I would say it's still probably like 65% of those venues are in Canada. So it's
Sure.
still Canadian centric in that part, not by design, just that's where we're from, and that's where
By
we prove.
history. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
it's where we prove the concept, you know, and that's
Yep.
also where I have the biggest reach, just because that's where my bulk of my audience is. And then when it comes to the online stuff, it's really anywhere. Like people are popping up all over the place. Like
And I bet you could do something. I mean, another flip to that question is I bet you could do themed things. You could do something around, for example, I lived in Brazil for a year, and I happen to know there's a lot of Brazilians in Boston, which just occurred to me as I was sort of semi asking the question. You could do something, there's like a very high, you know, or San Francisco has a lot of Brazilians. You could do themed things and just be like, you know what, let's do something for certain cities, and you could move into that city and do it. Wu Chang had a question about if you're a fan and you're popping onto the site, do you have to sort of log in? I don't think you have to log in to see a show as a fan, right?
You do actually, yeah, and that's how we keep
Okay.
the tickets secure. So
Got it.
that because so you know,
And that's a new.
yeah, that's actually a really exciting. That
Yeah.
only came
So
in
talk
about
about that.
3 or
It's
4
much more
weeks
secure now
ago.
than it was even a month
Yeah.
ago, right? Yeah.
So we, you know, for like the first little while, we were doing like hundreds of shows a month, and it was totally not secure. Like we were just firing out Zoom links in emails essentially, right? And it was like you could just take that link and send it to someone who didn't buy a ticket. You could put it on Twitter, you know, like you could just like throw that link anywhere. So that was like a real hurdle for us to jump. It's like, okay, we got this thing. I mean, it's really working and it feels great, but like we know that we can't scale this unless
And specifically, you knew you couldn't present it to like managed artists or signed artists because the link could get into the wrong hands, and all of a sudden you kind of lost control.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dealing with like the entrenched industry and people who are used to selling a couple thousand tickets a night, and they have like a certain sort of, you know, they're just not going to be interested in something that's not secure, and it's also not unique. Like our offering wasn't that much different than what you would get at like Eventbrite or something like that, right? So you're just like, okay, we need a paywall, and then you send out a Zoom link. Anyone can do that, and so what we've built is this like totally unique portal where in order to get into that show, you have to be logged into Side Door, and you have to have purchased a ticket or have been gifted a ticket or sent a comp or something like that. And what happens is that there's like a join now button, like when the show goes live, and you click that button, and there's like a whole bunch of pinging back and forth, back end between Side Door. You have no idea what's going on, but in the back end, there's like, you know, thousands of lines of code happening, and Side Door and Zoom are going like ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Is this person registered? Yes. Are they ready? You know how like.
And there's a one-to-one relationship. Every ticket has one person. Every ticket has one. Once you walk in that door,
Yeah.
You know, to use your analogy from our conversation, you can't go back and give your ticket over the turnstile to somebody else.
That's right. Like even if I was in the show and then I was like, oh, I want to be on my phone on the show as well, it would say, sorry, you're already in this show.
Now, I want to give people a visual that, unfortunately, I mean, this is, you know, we've been doing this a few months, but this is still sort of like very lo-fi. And there's lots of things I'd like to be able to do. I'd like to be able to click a button right now and show people this image, and it's you in the middle, right? So there's this image of Dan doing a show, and your expression is classic. You're just kind of like, oh, this is fucking great. And you're, you know, and Dan's in the middle, and there's literally like, I don't know, dozens or hundreds of just miniature video images of people going like, ah, and responding. And like, it's this wall. Like, when you see that, you all of a sudden you understand how this is different, right? But if you haven't seen that before, it's like, you literally have up to, right now, you have up to 1,000 people that you can be interacting with visually on video and scrolling through them, what, 25 at a time?
Yeah, I think it's 25. I think that they're even working up to being able to do like 42 at a time or something like that.
Okay.
So they're trying to make it so you
Very
can fit more
different
people on.
experience. Very
It's
different.
crazy. And that image that you're talking about, that's like that was like a Photoshop of, you know, but
Sure.
we were trying to figure out like, okay, how do we communicate the feeling of these shows? You know, because it's crazy. Like you're just in there and there's just people everywhere and you're peering into all these homes and it's so special. And so we essentially took a bunch of gallery views from the same show and just like snapshotted them and then put them around the performer in the middle, which was me on that show. And it was just sort of like a good way of like selling the idea of like, oh, okay, that's interesting, you know?
Do you have to purchase a ticket to get your sign in as an audience member? Do you have to purchase your first ticket in order to get that login set up?
Currently, yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, it was, you know, it's like when you launch tech things, you have like the MVP, right? Like the minimum viable product version of something. So like the MVP of our Zoom show is just emailing out Zoom links. And then we got the tech integrated, right? And so then when we brought in the audience accounts, like right now we're in sort of like the MVP stage of the audience accounts where you create an audience account, you can log in, but like even within a couple of weeks, you'll be able to create an audience account even if you haven't purchased a ticket. You know, you have like a ticket wallet, algorithmic suggesting you shows based on the other shows. Yeah.
And what's fascinating to me is that you guys weren't doing this virtual thing 6 months ago at all. 0%.
Not even 4 months ago.
but you had this DNA of having. That's cool.
Sorry. I'm in the middle of something. I don't think I can help you right now. I'm sorry, baby.
Maybe we can help. I mean, if she's got a question, maybe we can help her. Yeah, like you had 5 years, I want to say, of doing these sort of kind of like home performances and doing this in a non-virtual way over and over and over with real people in real spaces, not virtual at all, right? And I think that carries through now in the way you do things, and even just the way you offer tech support for every show, right? Like you guys do a lot of things very differently than the other platforms because you get it and you care and you understand what artists need, right? So I want to be able to open this up to more questions, Wu-Tang, if you have any more. If you guys have any, I'd like to be able to log in now as a fan.
Love that.
Yep.
Totally. Yeah. So that's where we're headed, is like you follow Sam Lynch, you know, you get an update as soon as she books another show. It's like, boom, Sam Lynch just put on the show, get your tickets now. You can also, you know, like you'd have like a notifications feed. It'd be like, remember to leave a review for this show that you attended. You know, here's a bunch of upcoming shows in your area. Here's a bunch of upcoming online shows. Integrate your Spotify account. You know, we can sort of like figure out what kind of music you like and, you know, suggest shows based on your listening habits and stuff like that. That's totally where we're headed. And I love that, you know, next launch. That's where we're getting. We're probably just a couple of weeks away from being able to like follow artists and stuff like that.
Lauren, thank you for inviting your fans. So I've given you a lot of softballs. I've given you a lot of, hey, Dan, we love you, and this is all great, and which is awesome because, you know, off the record and as a journalist that's covering a lot of different things in the space right now, you're kind of my favorite because I feel like you guys are coming from the right place. I also think you have an advantage in that you started in Canada only first, and you started in the very gritty sort of, let's get a home show to work. Let's get another home show to work. Let's get human beings that actually give a fuck about these shows. How does that work? Why do they not care? Why? So you weren't coming in, you know, trying to solve a tech problem, and you weren't coming in trying to resolve a pandemic problem, and you weren't coming in thinking like, oh, it's about the video and the technology and how this works. No, it's about people who care about music and how that comes together.
Yeah.
I remember. I want to hear your take on Zoom, because I know we were talking a little bit about, well, we've kind of learned to hack the Zoom audio. I mean, when I was just getting started with this, our first two live on lives were actually on Twitch, and they were using Zoom. And one of the reasons we're on you now is because we didn't like Zoom. Zoom tech, traditionally at least, statistically is not known for its high quality audio. Let's put it that way. So the biggest elephant in the room for me, again, if I'm in a creative meeting and we're tossing around ideas, do we want to use side door? I'd be like, I would find out how exactly they make that Zoom sound not like shit. So
totally.
how are you handling the Zoom issue?
So yeah, Zoom is this like massive, crazy product that can do all this crazy stuff. But in order to use it for our purpose, we actually don't need most of that. And the one thing that we do need it for, we need to be able to have good audio. So that was like our first hurdle, was figuring that out. So there's a bunch of things you can do to hack Zoom to have incredible audio. You have to just, so like, if we're having a meeting here, and probably has some of this technology as well, is there's all this gating and compression involved, right? It wants to turn, like the freezer in the next room that's humming, it tries to eliminate that sound, but still let my voice through. So it's gating out intermittent noise from the background, but letting vocals like pop through and stuff like that. It's all this technology and all this processing that's going on to the audio. And for a meeting, that's really helpful. Obviously, that's crucial in a meeting. You don't want the traffic noise behind you or whatever.
Thank you, Wu-Tang. Love
Bye,
your
Wu-Tang.
comments and questions, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
But for music, it just squashes all of the nuance out of it. It makes it sound like garbage, right? So you have to turn that off. There's like a bunch of features and settings you have to set up.
That's just a setting. That's just a toggle setting, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, you can just turn that on or off. And so there's a few things you need to do. And, like even like plugging in, like I've got, like microphones and stuff, like you can plug any audio interface into it. There's an application called Loopback, which allows you to route sound from like Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton into Zoom.
By the way, if you want to really nerd out on Loopback, we have a couple of episodes a few weeks back from Guillermo Subaste.
Guillermo's
way
the best.
Hardcore. And Guillermo, I mean, talking about sound quality and audio quality, I have a feeling Guillermo was sort of your secret sauce for the first phases. Like he was someone that you guys used a lot to get this stuff to sound really awesome, right?
Yeah, and he's someone that I knew just from like the live touring world. He lives in Toronto, and he reached out right away, and he's like, dude, I made this way. It was like 4 days into the pandemic, and he had this like website all set up, and he's like, I'm gonna make your live stream sound good. I'm like, dude, you just
StreamTuneUp.com. Great, beautiful dude. I was actually hoping to have him pop on for a second, and I think he's in a session at the moment. But
but he's great.
He's awesome.
And he'll I hired him. I was like, dude, give me half an hour of your time and make my rig sound good. And he's controlling my computer from where he is, and he's dialing Pro Tools and changing the EQ and stuff so it sounds good on his end. He's fantastic. So having, I guess like the biggest rule that applies, and you said like, how do you get past the Zoom audio thing? Is that you have to treat it like a real show. You can't just you got to sound check. You got to put like some thought into how you promote it. You have to, like, the same rules apply, and you have to treat it with care. And you have I've probably spent like 3 or 4 hours just messing around with settings in my studio, trying to make it sound best for live streaming.
And you said, Ivy, thank you for becoming a fan. And thank you, Wubba, for your likes. You had mentioned before too, that you have something like some 60-page document. And I think more apropos, you actually have a team of people, or at least a one-on-one person per stream when someone does a show, that can be sort of the way you sort of mentioned it, was almost like a checklist. Hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? I got a question for you. Is that 60-page document something that only people who are on and that sign up as artists have access
Anyone
to?
can see.
Does that exist somewhere that we could?
It is totally. I will drop a link.
That would be amazing.
Where is it here?
That's crazy, because I would imagine that's just you guys figuring out, oh shit, we should check this. Okay, now that's on the list. Boom. So
Yeah,
on
it's
your site, online show tips, amazing.
so
I'd like to actually, I haven't even seen that yet, and I already would probably want to run that in our next
yeah, man.
issue of the
And
publication.
it's fairly Zoom centric, but that was the purpose, right?
Which,
Is like,
yeah,
we're trying to like, and we're going to build the broadcast side of Side Door as well.
yep.
We might use like a Vimeo engine or something, and we're probably like a couple weeks or a couple months away from that, but we're figuring that out as well. But in the meantime, we've leaned heavy into Zoom, and the truth is that it is a total pain in the ass. Like there's all these like little cracks you can fall through. It's not built for it.
Art.
No,
It's built
but
for
if you can
business
transcend
and
it,
functionality, right?
like we that first Zoom show is like a mountain to climb, and it's just like, oh man, is this worth it? Is this gonna like, what a pain in the ass? Like, when I do my Facebook, I just like turn it on and play, and it's fine, and Zoom's all these things, and so. But then that text message that I get when somebody has finished their first show over Zoom, and they've just like met somebody watching from Argentina and like had a conversation with them, and then play and like watch people crying, and then like you're just like, it is just so powerful. And then I get a text message going like, dude, you were so right, thank you so much. And we consider ourselves, like, we understand that like part of our job on Side Door is, as you say, it's not just tech. It's not just to provide a bunch of things you can click, but to actually be the Sherpa that like helps you climb that mountain, so education, checklists, best practices. We have tech support leading up to the show. You can we have a support team. We've like, generally there's like between
guys,
1 and 5 people online.
I'm just going to mention that link. We'll make sure that link is in our Discord, because that link would probably be very useful. It's interesting. Ulap is saying Zoom is 1,000, maybe 10,000.
That's 10,000. That's 4 zeros.
Than Facebook. Would you agree with that? Or
Absolutely.
100,000?
Okay, I'll put it this way: Facebook or Instagram. And I love Instagram Live for like, I'm sitting on my deck and I'm strumming my guitar. I'll bring it up for 5 minutes and I'll like play. Mess around and play a cover or something like that.
Sure.
It's fun. It's like, it's conversational, but like people are watching it passively. I would not suggest to play a whole show there, and so, and I don't want to get down on the live streaming thing, but some people do it very, very well. You can put on like I saw Brandy Carlisle show I was telling you about that was just like beautifully done. It's like a TV show. It's like, it's well produced and stuff.
And yeah, you had mentioned. Sorry, I'll let you finish your thought.
Oh no, I was just going to say that. What was I going to say?
Maybe production value, because that's what you had talked about before. That like, when you get past a certain size or production value or investment in the show, there's a quality of the audio and video that needs to be there. Otherwise, it's not really an experience for the fans in the same way. It's very cool to just have something that's kind of like a fun kick back, let's call it a lean back sort of experience, where it doesn't need to sound amazing. It's just, oh my God, that's Chris Martin from Coldplay. That's crazy. He's right in front of this good piano. And it sounds good enough that you feel it. You're like, I totally feel that, because it's him and it's the moment, and that's you almost like that it's a little raw.
Yeah.
But then there's this other level where it's like, okay, now let's do a real show. Let's invite 1,000 or more people. Let's make it worth that $10, $20 ticket. That's a different animal.
Yeah, and I think that like, if you're gonna put like money and time and effort into your production value, and you're gonna rent a sound stage, and you're gonna have a 5-camera crew, and you're gonna like, make it sound crazy, and fog and lights and stuff like that, like broadcast is probably the way to go, because you're sinking all this cost into it, and you want to try and yield as much. And there's no ceiling on ticket sales on a regular broadcast, right? But if you're just going to do a live stream from home, or you're doing something simple or contained, I liken playing into a webcam, and I've done it. Playing into a webcam with a chat, it's like busking in an airport. Like, I've used that analogy before, but it's like there's 1 million people potentially there. But the engagement and the sort of existential reward of the situation is fairly minimal. Whereas playing to, a quiet, dimly lit, focused, everyone's paid to be like playing in a club to like 400 people or 600 people, and everyone's like been anticipating that all week, and they're all there, and they're all quiet, and they're all listening, and they're all engaged. Like, you'll make more money and have a way better experience with those 400 people than you would with the presumptuous million in the airport. And so that, it to me is like, that's kind of the side door thing, is like, make something contained and small unbelievable and exceptional, rather than trying to just broadcast so big all the time.
Yeah, and Kim had a killer question here, which is basically, and it's connected to what you just, I think, we're talking about. How do you make something, let's say someone is dropping, you know, they're trying to move from that sort of free live streaming, love you guys, here we are again, the same thing you were talking about before. I just feel like I should be present for my audience, and they feel like they want me to be present. That's all nice. But when you're moving to something where you're like, guys, I love you guys, I'm going to charge $10 a ticket, how do you make sure that that $10 ticket is worth $20 to the fan?
Yeah.
What have you found are the sort of hacks or the things that matter the most? Yeah, you can make it smaller. You can make, what are the things that really move the needle for the fans that you've seen that works?
Kind of like I said before about like the same rules apply. You have to think about it in the same way as you would a real show in the real world. So if you're playing in LA 3 times a week, you know, all the time, and then you try and put on a big show at a big venue, people are like, oh, that guy plays all the time. There's no scarcity around it, right? So put like, what is the unique value proposition of your online show? Is it that it's going to be an all request hour? Is it that you're going to play an album front to back? Is it that it's just going to be super engaging and you're going to take questions and do Q&A as well as play a bunch of songs? So, and how are you going to market it?
Right. You know, and are you going to tell people that ahead of time? Is it going to be, thank you, Diva. Is it something that you do because it makes sense in the moment?
Yeah. I mean, you can, I guess what I'm saying is just like, think about it, like put some thought into it. Like I think that Facebook and Instagram, it can be good for that off the cuff. Like, I'm just going to play a couple songs and, you know, peace out. But like, if you're going to put on a show and you're going to charge money for it, think about the experience you want people to have and try and angle, like make that your North Star. Like, okay, I want it to be really heavy and engaged, and I want it to feel like we've all experienced something special together. Okay, well then like plan every other element of the show so it points towards that North Star. Don't play free shows every night on Instagram Live and then hope to sell tickets for a Saturday show. It's not going to happen. People are, you know, you've already saturated your internet market by playing all the time. So, you know, scarcity is good. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, I was playing every week. Now I'm doing like every 3 or 4 weeks. And part of it's just because, you know, I need weekends back, and I need to be able to like go for bike rides with my family. But part of it is also just that, like, if I play every week, then people go, oh, he's just going to keep playing every single week. I'll buy tickets the next time around. So it's like you have to focus.
Unless they're themed and something matters, or you're doing something that's kind of that, even if it's part of a series. Kim has another really good point that, and I've heard this from people the last few weeks, even, that it's becoming more and more of an issue that people are literally getting trained to expect a certain amount of free content. And that it, you know, I think that's my perspective on it would be that as a music creator and as an entrepreneur / business owner, as a music creator, it's your creative task to make an event, the value of that event clear enough, that someone says, oh, that's interesting, and I don't want to miss that, and I'm going to get a ticket because. And it's hard because you're competing with free out there right now.
Yeah.
And also, to be perfectly honest and transparent about it, you know, a lot of those larger artists, either A, they don't necessarily need the paid paycheck right now the way emerging artists do, and some of them are getting, you know, sponsorship dollars, or they're getting things that are helping support them. So you're not only competing with free, you're competing with sort of subsidized. And so it's not an easy thing to do. And I think a lot of what you guys can bring to the table is not only that sort of, have you thought about technically audio, video, et cetera, but have you thought about how to make this a special? When we interviewed Emma McGann, the first handful of things that we did on this stream, a lot of what she talked about, and she happened to have been right at that moment where she was launching a series of paid live streams that were sort of like back to back to back to back. And each one had something. Each
Mm.
one was, okay, this is going to be a request show, or this is going to be a jungle show, or this is going to be, and she had thought through every single show of a 8 show ticket. And you could buy the ticket and attend all
Right.
8, but there was no single show. If you missed that show, it's like you missed it.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of sort of creativity that went into doing that.
Scarcity rules, man. Like if something is scarce, it is valuable. And so, you know, if you can create an air of scarcity, not just about how much or how often you're doing it, but about how spontaneous and real and interactive and impromptu it actually feels when it's happening. That is scarcity. Like that is because you know that if you weren't there, you weren't there.
That's true.
If we think back to like when we first the first time we put a hard ticket on an online show, I put the show on for sale on March 18th for 2 days later. And at the time, Chris Martin's for free, John Legend's for free, Alicia Keys is for free, everyone's for free, Pink's for free, everything's going on. All these huge pop stars, everyone's just like, and it was like, whoa, like music's saving us right when we need it, and it's all free, and isn't that great? And all these celebrities are playing. It's cool. And it was audacious in that moment to then go and put a hard ticket on something that was free everywhere else in the world. And so it was a bit of a gamble. And what we found, and this is the feedback that we got, was that if people felt like they were getting like a good, interactive, wonderful community experience, they were more than happy to pay. And when they did pay, they watched 100% of the show. It wasn't like a casual, oh, I'll tune in for a few minutes. They put it in their calendar. We could see like when they dial it up and the show begins, they're sitting there, they got the family, like the dog on the lap, they're Chromecasting the show to their TV. Like, you know, they've put thought and effort into like how they're going to experience this show. And it's like, they've made room in their life for this show. And so people would tune in like 20 minutes before the show, and then they would like be in there, camera on, engaged until the bitter last moment, until that like the artist like said goodbye, you know. And that was amazing, like especially in that moment, because I watched Chris Martin on my phone for like 2 minutes, and then I moved on with my day, you know. And it was like, and the other thing is that people were like, they were happy to pay, and some people like my moderator, who's kind of hosts my shows, he started putting my PayPal address in the chat thread, and like people were like people were paying like $8 for a ticket. It was like fairly inexpensive, and I was getting, some people were tipping me like $500 like into my PayPal account, and I'm just like, what is going on here? This is unbelievable. And the notes that people would write, they'd be like, that show was so powerful. That was amazing. Thank you so much. That was just what I needed right now. You know, like, and then they would write some story about like how a song of mine played a role in their wedding or their funeral or something like that. And then it'd be like, I'm a, whatever, they can afford it, you know? And so they're just like, this is what I want to give this artist right now. They probably need it. The pandemic's on. They just canceled their tour. And people were just like, not like, they were like happy for the opportunity to be able to give me money and give other artists money. And I thought that was really powerful. It was like when you don't beg for people to value your music, but when you say it's worth a thing, and in return for that thing, I'm going to give you everything I have. I'm going to give you a window into my world, into my home. You're going to see my kids wander in. I don't post pictures,
and ask a question.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for the likes. It was I just want to pronounce Shaylag King had a really great comment about, hey, sometimes I just, buy a ticket even if I'm not going to go. And I think, I don't know if this is true. You would probably know more than I would because you've seen it happen and transpire. But like, I think if the artist in whatever form is giving so much that audience, fan, whatever, appreciates it, if it's really that meaningful to them, then there's this natural desire to reciprocate in one way or another. And so it's not about like, hey, can you pay for this, please? Can you pay for this, please? Come on, pay for this. It's, let me give you so much that you're like, dude, that's so awesome. Let me give you something back. Yeah. Isn't that how?
And it's philosophical. It's totally philosophical in that, like, it's one thing to be entertained. Like if somebody is exceptionally talented, right? Like we love talent. We all want to be entertained and we all want to pay to like observe talent. That's great. And so if you can go to a show and be impressed by somebody's like otherworldly talent, that's great. But what is way more powerful and way more memorable is to be moved, like to be emotionally moved by an experience for reasons that you don't even fully understand. Now, the best case scenario is when you are impressed and moved at the very same time, obviously, right? Yeah. That's when you leave and your mind is exploding and you're like, oh my God, that was so beautiful. And I just want to put my armor down and like love everybody, you know, and you're adding more empathy into the world. And so truly
Shelag King, I completely agree. I think that you know, again, I think sometimes when we invite people on, right? Like the last person that we had on last couple, I think, was Session Wire, which happens to be a company that does software about like collaborative. You're the second company that we've had on. And, you know, it's like these aren't meant to be sort of commercials, or they aren't meant to sort of be promotional about what you're doing in that particular way. But I just think the way you guys are doing what you're doing is priceless. And it's so essential and valuable right now that you've got somebody that's half musician, 100% musician, but in your sort of professional
these days
it's like you got 1 foot musician and 1 foot platform builder. And so there's not really a lot of that out there. There's some where, you know, I can think of someone that I spoke to earlier this week that's technically an artist and has a platform that's, you know, artist friendly, but they're not moving into it and really decoding it the way you guys are. And I just think that, you know, you guys are going to grow as fast as you need to, and you're going to do as well as you need to, but it's good to know you're out there because,
well, thank you.
I mean, the example that I gave for you guys, you know, when we were talking last week, I'm like, have you ever heard of Emma McGann? And you were like, no. And I said, well, you know, she and I were sort of chatting back and forth about like, well, what's going on and what's new and what are you seeing? And I'm like, you're the kind of platform that I would suggest to somebody that's like, well, what's really worth my time right now? Side door is something that it's not going to not be worth your time. It's like, it's definitely a good space. We got 5 more minutes. If you guys have any other specific questions for Dan, Tori, thank you so much. You've been amazing.
Yeah, Tori's great.
Thank
Tori,
God for Tori.
I would say Tori is doing exactly what, like I have a moderator, a co-host on my shows, and his name's Mark, and he's kind of does what Tori's like a stage manager, you know, it kind of keeps me in on so I know what's going on. Because while I'm playing a song, often the chat thread's going like, and I can't read it, you know, but he can kind of like keep tabs on it.
And that's a whole set, and Tori's so good at that. I made her blush the last time, but like I could do a whole stream on what Tori does that's amazing, that helps this be what it is. Kim had a question about how do you know if artists are ready for side door? And I want to add a sidebar to that question, which is there a minimum number of tickets, or is there a minimum dollar amount that you guys sort of allow to make this happen?
No, there's absolutely no barrier to entry. So you can do a free show on Side Door. You can do a show to 5 people for $1.
You know, it's a free show on Side Door. I didn't know that.
Yep, you can absolutely do a free show, and people essentially will RSVP, and it uses all the same technology, and they can, you know, have a single instance in that show through Zoom. Yeah, we've sort of, again, like and thank you for all the kind words, but like we've approached this from the artist mindset.
Yep.
Every element of the platform has had my gut check, and like, you know, my whole career I've been pitched platforms or all kinds of different services in the music industry
as an artist yourself.
And it's all like everything has the feeling of like, you know, we're selling you hopes and dreams, and in return just give us like $100 a month or something like that, you know? And it's like, well, my hopes and dreams are worth an infinite amount of money to me, so I'm willing to give this little amount of money I have. It's like this parasitical music industry element,
right.
And we really wanted to avoid that. So it's free to sign up, it's free to put on a show. We only make money, Side Door only makes money if you as the artist make way more money. So we only take a piece of the pie when there's money to be made. We don't charge you for it. and you can do free things. And how do you handle licensing for cover songs? So, great question.
100%. 100%.
Okay, and this is interesting. So because our online shows are just an adaptation of our in-person shows, and one of the first things we had to do when we set up in-person shows was learn how to pay PROs, so performing rights organizations. So in Canada it's SOCAM, but down there it's BMI, ASCAP. In the UK it's PRS. In Germany it's GEMA. And so when you play a show, about 3% of the revenue is supposed to go to these performing rights organizations who aggregate those funds and then pay them out to the IP owners, the songwriters.
Right.
And so if you're playing all of your own music, you submit your set list. So if you play a show on Sidedoor or online, you take your set list, you submit it to your PRO. Sidedoor will pay the PRO for you, and then you can request that money back through the PRO and get paid for playing your own songs, essentially. So that's how that works, and that is something that we do that none of the competitors do. We handle the PRO payments for you. And that's just, again, it's lucky that we built this for the in-person world. That was a really crucial thing for the in-person world. For the online world, it's a little bit foggy and everyone's trying to figure it out. It is a liability now because these PROs, they understand that they have no revenue coming from live music for the next foreseeable year and a half. So they're going to start going after artists, and they're going to start going after, they're going to need to claim those fees, because technically it's a liability right now to not be paying PROs for your online stuff. So
got 1 minute left. What's a good mic that works for Zoom? Have you found a particular microphone or chain of any kind that works well for Zoom?
You can use anything that, like if you have a PA at home, or any kind of like hardware microphone. I mean, there's a few. What's it called? There's one just like it's just like a simple condenser mic. It picks up like everything in the room. A lot of people have been using it. Oh my God, I think it's called the Blue mic.
Sure, the Yeti.
It's the Yeti. Yeah, it's the Yeti, and that's like a really great sort of like consumer grade, like, you know, if you know nothing about microphones, that microphone would sort of like be a good entry point of just like something you could perform into acoustically. It would pick up everything in the room and it would sound good.
And by the way, there's a couple of previous streams that you guys can find on YouTube on our tiny URL address where Guillermo talks about that at length. If you have time for one last question, and I think this is an easy one for you because I feel like Ulap's question about can you find new fans through that Zoom stream? I think that's kind of what you guys enable. You want to talk about that, and then we'll let you get started on your hiking trip or your
totally
trip.
Well, one thing that happens a lot is people go on Sidedoor and they're like, oh, my favorite artist is playing, and they'll tickets are cheap, you know, it's only $6 or $10 or something, and they will buy, and like they'll buy like 5-6 tickets and then just like issue them out to their friends. And it's, in a way, it's like you can go to a concert with your friends really easily because they just claim the ticket, they join in the show, now we're all in watching the show. So that's one way that it seems to be that like people are sort of like expanding their audience through these shows. I will say this, the online world of like promoting shows is easier for people who already have an audience. This is not the easiest climate to win an audience, and that is
From
just
zero.
like that's an unfortunate truth. It is tough. It's really tough. How do you get, if your audience is 0, how do you get people to spend money to come and watch a show? That's really, really tough. And that's like a chicken and the egg thing. And we kind of figured that out on the in-person world with Doug. You know, I talked about like a Doug in every city. I was like your Trojan horse to get you into Calgary, and then to get you into Dayton, Ohio, and to get you into Pittsburgh. You needed a Doug in every town who could just invite 60 of their friends to their backyard. In the online world, we are still figuring that out.
Well, I was
just going to say the audience side, you know, like following an artist, getting notifications about that artist, being able, like, we can sort of like, based on the shows that you've watched, we can, you know, help you buy tickets to other shows that are going to be similar, or, you know, there are ways that we can try and encourage that sort of cross promotion kind of thing. But it's an ongoing issue. It's the chicken and the egg. How do you get a chicken if you don't have an egg? How do you get an egg if you don't have a chicken?
And I would add as one sort of, and thank you, Kim, I appreciate it. It's so nice to have you here because you get it from an artist and a songwriter and kind of a music industry person. I think YouNow is an incredible, one of the things that attracted, Tori and I to this environment and this platform and this space and this vibe is there is a kind of openness and a sort of curiosity. It's a good place to just put something out there and start to build people that know who you are and build a sense of your voice or what it is that you like to put out and how you like to perform and learn. And, there's environments online for different things.
Yep.
Yours is when you want to go play a show at the Troubadour or whatever, to use sort of an LA analogy, that may not be the first show you do ever. You might do some, open mics, and then you might move on to some, opener shows at the and then you do a Troubadour show, or you do a series of Troubadour shows, or a residence at the Troubadour, right? So there's kind of a moment in time where you can really do well in those, but that doesn't mean that if you can't get a show at the Troubadour, you can't get a show. And I think you guys you're not, the first necessarily step if you don't have an audience yet, is what you're saying. It's kind of tough to try and get people to show up from nothing.
And that's, earlier one of the questions was like, is there a barrier to entry? Do you have to be at a certain level or something like that? And the short answer is no. Anyone can play a side door show. However, you will find more success if you've got a little bit of traction to roll on, of course, I got to jump, but Peter,
thank you very much. Love you guys.
Such a peach, man. Thank you so much for all your support, and I really appreciate it. And it was so clear from the very first moment that we started talking back on the phone a week or two ago that like you just got it. You got what we were doing, and it means a lot to me. And thank you so much. Thanks for everyone to tune in. I know. Thank you, Tori. You're such a great host, and thank you for putting all the links in the chat thread there. There's lots of shows coming up on Side Door, and please spread the word. Tell your artist friends. This is a place for really beautiful, engaging shows. Actually, you know what I might do? I'm gonna put. We've just got like a little pitch deck here with some stuff about the online shows. I'm just gonna throw that in the chat. But yeah, man, you're great. Thank you so much.
Likewise, go have some fun. You well deserved, and we'll be in touch. I'm around to help you in any way I can, man. Be good.
Much love. Okay.
See you
soon. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye. Woo. Thank you guys so much, man. That was one of those love to have the people in the room. That was really fun. Yuma, good to see you, man. It means a lot to me personally when we have someone like Dan on, to have you guys in the room too, because that's what I like. Is kind of like, it's almost like, in a way, I'm sort of the host of this, but in an ideal world, I almost step back and I just let you guys kind of hang with Dan for a little bit, and I'm just trying to pepper in questions and guide the conversation. But knowing the quality of conversations and thinking and stuff that's in the room means a lot to me, because again, when we invite people like that on, it's it's kind of with the assumption like, cool, I hope people show up. You never know, right? I mean, a lot of you guys probably stream yourselves. We've had streams where it's like there's 3 people on, and I'm like, damn, it's like so and so on, So it means a lot to Tori and I that you guys showed up and that you participate and that you chime in and ask interesting questions. Those good questions, everybody goes, oh shit, that's a good question, and then it moves in some small way everything forward. So it's really great to see everybody today. Who has more questions? Who has more stuff? You guys want to pop on? We were actually going to bring on Keith for a second, but it sounds like he's tied up. Thank you, Kim. We can't wait to have you in a couple weeks. That was crazy about Pittsburgh. I love shit like that. Nobody else cares probably except you and me, but that was crazy. He's like, we have shows in Pittsburgh. I'm like, how do you know she's from Pittsburgh? Someone had asked about the vintage thing, or had given me some props for the vintage thing. Thanks. What's going on, 7,000? Who else is in the Shellag? You had some really, really great comments and questions. Are you an artist? Are you doing some music? Smokey, you had some good comments as well. Appreciate all you guys. We're actually going to be hanging out a couple more times throughout the day. We're going to have Britt on shortly at 2, literally just to chop up like what we're going to be talking about when she comes on Friday. So it's almost like a fly on the wall kind of thing. I'm thinking about doing more, I guess what you might call sort of business type calls. So if I have a conversation that I'm scheduling with a producer or a studio or someone like Dan or what have you, I don't know if that would be interesting for you guys, but Tori and I toyed around with the idea of just like, you know, why don't we just have some of those conversations on YouNow, and then people can be like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, YouNow is super cool. In 2015, it was like the Twitch for sure. Nowadays, it's really cool house party. Yeah, all I remember is that the first time I saw YouNow, I'm like, this is wild. Thank you, T. There's a feel to the people on YouNow that's very different than any other environment. And you'd like that, Tiffany? Yeah, we'll do more of that stuff. It could be almost anything, like basically anyone that is comfortable doing those kinds of thank you, Port Chambers. You know, I interview a lot of people for the writing that I do for the music newspapers that I write for. Every once in a while someone's like, yeah, we can do it on YouNow. People are getting slowly used to that. I don't know if you guys are thank you, Unique. That was super amazing. Thank you for bringing your fans over. I remember the first time I saw Gary Vee doing shit like that, where he would go into a meeting, like a business meeting that he was doing as a, you know, like for his agency work. And Scott, got your text. Absolutely, totally cool. And it's good to know that you were on at all. And I'll check in with you shortly. Yeah, thank you, Unique. So what was I saying? Sorry. I think people are getting used to, thank you, Mahadi. People are slowly still getting used to the idea of like, so you want to have this conversation on YouNow in public? I guess, you know. So I'm sort of testing the waters right now a lot with people, and I think it's cool. I think it's cool for them. Let's say Dan, for example, I interviewed Dan last week. The conversation that we were referring to from last week was me doing like a formal interview of him for the piece, just a mention that I'm going to have of Side Door. I went back yesterday to prepare for this, and I listened to it probably 3 times because I record those on my phone. That would have been awesome for you guys to hear, that first conversation, right? Because there was different things and different topics and different ways of presenting it. Yeah, and I think Tori's down for it. I think she and I both like the idea, but this is not really for us, it's for you guys. So the more you guys, you know, sort of confirm that, we'll try and do it. And it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. It super helps when you guys are responsive, which you are, but also in those instances, I really have to be careful about making sure that it's a respectful environment. If Dan comes in and he's a guest and it's a thing and we're talking and it's kind of announced, that's one thing. And if people want to clown around a little bit because that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But if I bring on a couple of people and people are in whatever way disrespectful, we won't keep doing it because that's not cool to them. It's not cool to us. You see what I'm saying? So just like word to the wise. Yeah, no trolling on those. Don't be trolling on those. Tori, she'll shut you down. She's got that whistle. Upcoming lineup, dude. I'm sure Tori, I'm pretty sure we have them on our Discord at this point. Tori the troll hunter. Dude, why do I have a visual of you with an outfit on and maybe like a what are those things that are not like when you're archery but it's like a gun that shoots a bow, like an arrow. What do you call those? Crossbow? Tori, I see with a crossbow. Yeah, we don't really have trolling. I'm just putting it out there because I like to try and put things out there transparently ahead of time. If anybody does any trolling and those sort of fly on the wall type vibes, I'll just pull them because I'm just not. I have zero. I got tolerance for a lot of shit, but not for like I have someone on who's basically virtually a stranger to me. Like imagine it's my first conversation with Dan. He doesn't know me yet, right? He's not. I mean, Dan and I are like good because we've had a series of conversations. Imagine that first conversation was like, yeah, and it was kind of weird, and there were some people clowning on us. No, man, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just letting you guys know, like, as long as it's respectful, we will do some of those, and I'll bring on all sorts of cool people. I'd still like to bring on more managers. I feel like there's a lot of interest in having people come on. So yeah, what's going on, people? Does anyone want to pop on for a second? Tori, I think you're good till 11:30. I'm good till 11:30. T, you want to pop on? You want to do some appearance? You ready to pop in? And just a final mention that Britt's going to be coming on Friday, and you guys do not want to miss that. Same time, same place.
Hey,
What's up, T?
nothing.
How are you? How many songs did you write today?
I just wrote one yesterday.
Cool. That's good. So you're going to come on Friday and meet Britt?
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. Britt's someone that I've known for a couple of years, and she works with a lot of hip hop artists. You should check out her website. It's brittfoxstudios.com, just to get a vibe on like the kind of music she does. But she works with a lot of vocalists. She works with a lot of hip hop artists. I can't wait to have you guys meet a little bit.
Yeah.
What you been up to?
I just been laying down. My head kind of hurts.
Oh, you got a little headache?
Yeah. But I'm good though.
Thanks, Lennon. Shaylog, thanks so much for popping in. Please come back and hang with us Wednesdays and Fridays. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. It was great having you here. So do you want to perform something that you've been writing recently, or do you want to just chill? You always do a song when you're on here, so we can just hang. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kim. So did you have any thoughts on like what you want to be doing with your music that's maybe different than what you've been doing recently? Is there anything? Would you like to record one of your songs? Would you like to work with a producer? Would you like to collaborate with someone and write a song with somebody else? Like, is there anything that you kind of have in the back of your mind that you'd like to be doing with your music?
I'll just try to sell them.
Yeah. So what does that mean? You mean sell like a single, like a 99-cent download kind of thing? What do you mean sell it?
Like if I come out with an album, I'll just sell them to my fans.
On like where? On Spotify?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any music out on Spotify yet?
No, I want to put it on there, but I don't know how.
We might have. You guys can let me know. Would it be useful to have a sesh to sort of what's up unknown to talk about how to do that kind of stuff? I feel like we might be able to bring on Hisham. Were you here? I don't know, T, if you were on. This was probably 2 months ago when Hisham came on to talk about digital marketing. Were you here for that, or was that maybe a little bit before when you started watching?
I don't think so. Can't remember.
That's okay. Unknown. We could do stuff like that if that's useful. We could do sort of like a breakdown on like how to put stuff on Spotify, how to get stuff up on Distro Kid or whatever. Yeah, what is up? Like, we're like plugged into the same matrix, Kim. That is, wow. That's some good mojo. Anyway, it's good to see you again, T. So bring some stuff on Friday. You'll get a chance to meet Britt. And who's someone that you've met on YouNow that like musically you've sort of been following or listening to or learning from besides us that you like?
Well, I want to do music with Dash.
Amen. Why don't you come on? You know, he's going to be coming on to hang with us. Tori, what date is Dash on? Yeah, Kim, we are vibing. Come on. I feel like it's the first Friday in August, right? August 5th. So it's the 3rd and the 5th. Or no, is he the Wednesday? Is that Wednesday or hold on. 5th is Wednesday, yeah. So the first of our streams in August, he's going to be on. You got to hang with us. You've probably been on his streams though, right? Like you've guested on his streams a little bit. No, not yet. What do you like about his music?
Well, I never heard his music. I heard him sing once. He sound good.
Yeah. I know, man. I don't even know where my days are on my calendar. He's super talented as a singer, and you've never heard him freestyle?
No.
So I was actually going to ask you something, and I didn't know the answer to it. Britt was asking, like, do you like freestyling, or do you like to sort of write your stuff first, and then record it or perform it?
I mean, I like freestyling, but it's hard. But I just write my raps.
Yeah, you probably prefer to just write stuff, right? Yeah, Dash is live right now. Yeah, you got it, Donnie. Cool. So we'll definitely see you on Friday. Keep writing stuff. I think we will do something on either Spotify or DistroKid, or maybe both. Do you have any of your music recorded in any way?
Well, on SoundCloud.
Oh, you have it on SoundCloud?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. How many songs do you have on SoundCloud?
I don't know. I have to check.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have your link on SoundCloud? Is it SoundCloud/T-Fresh Montgomery?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yes.
You guys can go check it out. I'll probably listen to some of your stuff before Friday. I can send that to Britt too, so she gets a little bit more of a vibe on your stuff. Love it. All right, T, you wanna pop off and or do you wanna hang? Okay. Tori, were you blushing earlier? Did I get you blushing? Baroop. All right. Kim, are you bouncing? Tori, you wanna pop on for a couple minutes, and then we gotta roll. Kevin, you want to guest? What you want to talk about, man? Oh, you want to window it up? Kevin, Tori's going to pop on for just a couple seconds before 11:30, and then we're out for the moment, but we're back on at 2. If you want to hang with us then, you're absolutely, totally 100% welcome to, and we can guest you. I just wanted to give Tori a couple moments to hang. Maybe she'll tell us about her fishing trip. Tori? Ready, Fred? What's up?
Oh, thanks, Kim.
Seeing's on. You guys gonna come back on Friday? Yeah.
Wow,
What's
Kim,
up,
thanks
T?
for the likes. Hello.
How
Hello,
you been?
hello. Oh, we got another one joining.
Oh, what's up?
She just sat right in front of the camera.
She's way less shy than the last time I saw her.
Wow.
Have you been streaming a lot with Honey?
Yeah, she actually joined the stream this morning with Dan. She just sat right on my lap. And I was like, this is now. She is running the test stream.
She's giving you some high fives. Awesome. She's so chill.
See, she's going to take over the stream. Forget
Yeah,
Pete.
T, absolutely. Go check out Dash. She's so cute. She's so cute.
I want to check out a Side Door show now. Like, I keep reading like their newsletters and their articles, but man, I need to check out a show just to see how the format works.
Totally. Yeah, it seems like it would be a very different experience. So it's probably hard to sort of imagine it until you've done it and seen it. I agree. Because you're actually able to see everybody else. It's kind of wild. You can see everybody else's reaction, and it becomes this sort of like everybody's reacting to everybody else. I think that's what Dan was sort of describing. Like, it's pretty rad.
It turns into a virtual party.
Yeah.
Everyone in their own living room.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, I feel like they're doing it better than any, for that ticketed model. I think they're doing it better than anybody else. And they haven't, they just started doing it 3-4 months ago. It's not like they had a long time trying to figure it out. I think they kind of got it before they started doing it. It's Dan and Laura, and she has a background in music as well, in the music industry, and they just get it.
That was another part that makes it work so well, is they're artists, so they understand. Like, they know what it's like to perform, the importance of the audience and formats. Like, they are there themselves. And also being so, like, artist focused as well. Like,
plus Dan's music is really good.
Yeah. I was listening to a couple after our test. I need to go listen to more.
Yeah.
But that voice.
Yeah. And his his lyrics are really good. Yuma, how are you guys doing with the setup at Bauer? You guys getting a little live streaming going on yet? Might be fun to bring you guys in like September when you got some stuff built. That would be fun. Unique, good to see you. Can't wait to have you here in a couple of weeks as well as our guest. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. So we do this Wednesdays and Fridays. Tori, what is it? How would you describe what this is in your words?
My latest favorite description was peeking behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz style, seeing an interview podcast style on how things work in the live streaming world, live streaming as an artist, the people behind, kind of like the tech, best practices, platforms, all that stuff. And then, in August, a look behind the curtain of your favorite YouNow streamers.
Thank you, Kermit. Okay, so let's rattle off one last time for folks that may not have that list or be on our email list. If you guys want to be on our email list, what do you think is the best way for someone if they want to start getting on we send out an email twice a week, the day before each of our streams, just so you know who the people are. Thank you, Kermit. You tell me, what is the best way for someone if they want to get on that list?
I was just thinking that when, is it Shayla or Shirley asked that?
Shay King?
Yeah.
King?
We could do like the YouNow Gmail.
Yeah, let's do that.
Or email, yeah.
I mean, whatever, let's.
And then we can just loop them in. I mean, our Discord also always has the info, but if they don't have a Discord, sometimes they don't want to join.
Yeah.
That app.
So maybe we can we just type in real quick, because I gotta jump at 11:30. Our Discord, in case people are kind of Discord kids, or if they want an email, let's just use the UNOW LXL whatever email. And if you guys want to be on that list, again, we just send it out so that thanks, Craig, I appreciate it. Also, that gives you guys an opportunity to sort of let us know, like, if there's things that you would like for us to include, or people you'd like for us to see if we can interview, or like things that we can look into. The more we know about what's interesting for you guys, I think the cooler this will be. So it gives you a chance to sort of check in with us when it's not during a stream. Yeah, now. So we'll be back on at 2 p.m. Pacific to hang out with Britt for a second.
Yeah.
Do a little planning session. That'll be one of our fly on the wall sessions. We'll literally just be planning what we're going to do on Friday because we haven't really talked about it.
Which, kind of cute. 7,000 Apart did something similar. They have a show on Saturday, and they did a band practice, and they streamed it. And I was like,
Nice.
I love that. That was such a clever use of the time. They're like, we're playing, we're practicing anyway. Might as well stream it. And it was super fun. Sometimes they would play the same song like a couple times and try and get, cadence right.
Yep.
So I'm for that. I'm all for that.
Yeah, like the low key sort of, we're getting ready to go. We've had people that have found us when we were doing like tests and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like testing something out. People are like, what is this?
People hop on my test all the time. An unknown will come in and then invite everyone to my test.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, when you're doing like your warm-ups before.
Yeah.
Come on, Donnie. He's like, I think she's doing another test. I gotta hop on.
And I have horrible lighting, dog on my lap. It's not.
Dude, what I was kind of talking about you earlier with Dan, Donnie, because I was like, you should check into Side Door because they sort of have this whole role for people like you that are like those kind of promoter types that know like, oh, this artist would be good over here. These people should meet. We should do a show with this. Side Door is Dan from Side Door. If you go back and watch this interview in a couple days on YouTube, or if you watch it over the next, I don't know, these are up for about maybe 24 hours. You can see them.
So, yeah.
But if you just go to sidedooraccess.com, Dan's one of the co-founders, and we interviewed him today. But we were talking about that sort of similarity that exists in you now with folks like you and others. I would say Eric is in that category. People that are like those kind of matchmakers and sort of like people that they're connectors. You guys are like people that help make things happen. And on Side Door, for what it's worth, you actually get a cut of stuff. Like if you help promote or produce a show and it makes X amount of dollars, you might actually get a piece of that if you're kind of in that environment doing that. So, I mean, I don't know if that's of interest to you, but something to think about. So yeah. Love you guys.
It's 11:30, so
we'll see you in a couple hours. We'll be back on at 2, and then Friday, 10 a.m. Britt Fox and T Fresh Montgomery.
Hey.
All right, we'll see you soon. See you, Tori.